There are so many books on manifestation. There are so many trainings. There are so much material out there. Like, you can spend all day on YouTube watching videos and doing meditation. And I was that person who used to do that, like 24/7, listening to this information, right? But what I was realizing was that I wasn't getting the results that I wanted. Nothing was changing. I just knew a lot of information and nothing was really changing. And then one day, I remember, those who know Bob Proctor, there was this guy who was studying with Bob Proctor, and I was watching one of his videos, one of the many videos that I used to watch. And he was saying that I studied with Bob Proctor for 7 years and nothing changed until I realized him saying that I changed my self-image, self-concept, identity, whatever you want to call it, 3 times in my lifetime. And when Bob Proctor said that, that person was like, oh, you're not just supposed to listen and watch and do these, keep watching and reading the books. We are supposed to do some work. That's why nothing is changing for the 7 years. And when I was watching his video, it just struck me that it is so common to watch so much stuff on social media, on internet, but the real thing, the real deal is doing the work. And what I want to share with you today is what that work is, and really break that work down into the simplest steps like ABC. And what I would love for you is to commit to yourself and to me and to all of us who are around, that you will do this work for the rest of your life. Because there is no point in your life when you can say, you know what, I have grown, it's perfect, I've become the best of me, I don't need anything else. There is no point in your life when you can say that, because there is always more. There is always more. But when we talk about rising in consciousness, when we talk about becoming the match, it is literally like when you open a website and you see like, there are part of the website which is open and there is a part of it which is locked. Like, you cannot write it. You need to unlock it. Maybe sometimes you need to pay some money or you need to unlock the membership. But you can see that part in gray, but you cannot access it. This is literally with the manifestation. It's already here. And when you rise in consciousness, when you elevate in your consciousness, have this accession experience, that ascension, that's when you are unlocking more. But that doesn't mean it's delayed. That doesn't mean it's not here. What it means is rise in consciousness. What it means is see yourself even more and more and more every single day. Rising in consciousness is a journey, a commitment of growth and evolution over lifetime. But we can really collapse time when we start to understand how rise in consciousness meets neuroscience, how rise in consciousness meets psychology. How does it work? And that's when you can be, do, and have literally anything. Literally anything. Let's talk about rising in consciousness. What does it look like? Because even when I was reading Neville's books, and I've read a lot of his books, every time he said like rise in consciousness, do those tools, do those techniques. But what are the exact like crux of rising in consciousness? And this is what I want to share with you. And the way I have developed it, I worked with Bob Proctor developing this and really start to see like how this works and start to perfect it over time. And after doing it with hundreds of people and seeing crazy results, I wouldn't even say incredible, crazy results, this is really powerful. So what we want to look at is that we are like a computer. We are literally like a computer. We have been programmed. We have been programmed. We are working on an autopilot program all the time. You can call it consciousness. You can call it what you're aware of being. Some people call it subconscious mind. I think it's way beyond subconscious because it's in your body. So it's your identity. It's gone past subconscious. It's unconscious now. So when you do something subconsciously for a while, it becomes unconscious. You do it without even involving your mind. Like when we get up in the morning, we don't ask ourselves, what am I supposed to do? We just brush our teeth, have shower, do all those things. So it is unconscious now, right? And what we want to look at is that we are coded unconsciously. There is a program that is running and there is a code for everything. Literally, you can imagine it like a code. Like a computer has a code. When I use my phone, right? And my phone, There is a code. Like if I want to check my messages, I need to press a button, then it will open my messages. When I want to open WhatsApp, when I want to open on Facebook, there is a code for everything, right? We cannot expect phone to just start going crazy. Like, if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. We are also coded. Let's be really clear. We are coded. Now the question is, what are my codes? How can I find out? Is there a manual? Like, can I get a printout of my codes so I can change them? Can you just download my codes for me? Export them on a file? No, I can't. But I can tell you what your codes are. There are two ways to look at your codes. One at a result level, like what you're attracting, and the other way is really seeing how they're controlling you and becoming aware, observing. So there is a code in your life right now for your relationship. Based on what your relationship has been, what experience you have, what your love life is, there is a code. If somebody has a code that my partner does something, whatever that is, I'll give you an example without disclosing any identity whatsoever, but there was a client of mine who had this thing that, and in the beginning I used to help people with all sorts of things, and now I really get excited, really help with money and coach people on money. But in the beginning, what she had was she had a code that all men come after my money. She was doing really well, and she had this code that all men come after my money. Now, she married somebody. She was also a friend of mine as well, and a client. So I knew really her life from quite well. She married somebody from a specific nationality, and she had a first experience where the guy was after her money, and she was like, people from that country, all the people from that country are like that. I'm gonna marry somebody completely different. She married somebody else, same experience. Then she found somebody else, same experience. Why? Because she was an energetic match for everybody's after my money. There was another example where one of my clients, she when she was little, her mother used to take her money. Like, she used to keep her money in her wallet, and her mother used to just take it out. And when she came to me, she was 65, and she was scammed all her life with money because she was a match. You see, like, you can fight those codes, but there is no point. You will not outperform them, right? If you were not loved when you were growing up, you will have a code of I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, whatever. So there is a code for relationship. There is a code for money. The code for money is, what are you attracting in your bank account every single month? Like, what is that number? That number. If that number changes, some months you have thousands and thousands, some months is hundreds, that means you're not on a stable frequency. The code is not stable. That means some months you're really vibrationally operating at a higher energetic field, and then you go down, and then you go up, right? All our results are telling you about the codes. Anytime you want to look at, anytime you have a having experience in your life when you're annoyed, when you're thinking, I wish I could change the whole world, I wish I could change this, that is hard work. Changing the world, changing other people, changing this, making sure this person doesn't treat you badly, making sure you are paid on time, making sure money stays. Everything in the outside is hard work because it's a reflection of the code. What we do is we stop, we observe the experience. We say, oh, interesting. That means I have a code somewhere that is causing that. Interesting. What I do is, instead of saying, what is wrong with me? I say, what is my code? Look, like, all of a sudden you have just depersonalized the whole thing. It's nothing to do. It's just a code. Let's change the code. Let's change it, right? You can just recode. Why take it so personally? Why getting upset? Why judging ourselves? Why being so hard on ourselves? Just change the code. Right? What we do is we become aware of the code. If you're having an experience with money where it's hard to earn, ask ourselves this question. I posted, in fact, today on Facebook. Earning money is easy. What is your first thought? That is the code. And the other observation after looking at your result is, ask yourself, what do I really believe? And the way we do it is, like, take this statement, earning money is easy. What is the first thought that comes? What is the unfiltered thought? Not what you want to affirm. What is the unfiltered thought that came? That is your code. Or you can ask yourself literally this question, what do I think about this? If I be super honest, what do I really believe? You know what you believe. Maybe you were not aware before, because the problem is that what our codes are, most of them were implanted in us when we were 7-8 years old. And at that time, we didn't even have the reasoning faculty, like conscious mind saying, this doesn't make sense. Why are you saying that to me? When we were told you're not good enough, whatever you do is this, life is this. We couldn't say, by the way, this doesn't make any sense. According to data, this is the truth. We couldn't say that. We just took it on. I remember growing up, I was told that you're not intelligent. You have to work really hard to achieve what you want. And I acted in alignment with it for a long time until I became aware. These questions help you become aware of your codes. Anytime you have experience with anything whatsoever, there is a code for time. What is your relationship with time? I see this quite often now. I don't have enough time. I'm running out of time. That's your code for time. That's it. That's your code for time. People are harsh towards me. That's your code. People are annoying. People on the road are so annoying. That's your code. Everything is so slow. That's your code. Instead of fighting the outside, let's go in the cause. There is a universal law, which is a really powerful law called cause and effect. Everything has a code. And everything has a cause. And the cause is your code. Everything has a cause. You can fight the effect. Keep fighting the effect. She fought first guy and she's like, people from this country are like that. So I'll never ever meet this person ever again, or people from this country. Let's find somebody else. When you are a match, and what I've seen, which is so crazy, is that if you are a match for not being treated well with money, with anything, then the person may treat somebody else the way they are a match, and they will treat you the way you are a match for. You activate the side of that person what you are a match for. So let's say there's a person who will pay a lot of money to somebody else for their services, but they won't pay you. Why? Because you're not a match. Because you don't believe you're worthy. Because the code is it must be hard. If you are having a difficult experience, like let's say you want to start your own business, right? And you're saying, can I do that? How will I do that? The code is, I am someone who's trying to start my business. But the code that we want is, I am a successful entrepreneur. You are operating with the codes, and those codes are creating an effect. When you have a thought, when you have a feeling, when you act, you are acting in alignment with that code because that code controls you. In manifestation space, there's a lot of fight between, like a lot of arguments, like, do we need to take action? Some people are like, just don't take action, just allow, just surrender. And some people are like, you gotta take action. And what I say is, doesn't matter. What is your code? Because you will think, you will feel, and you will act in alignment with the code. Even if you think you won't, you will. You can't control it. It's 98% autopilot. How will you control it? When somebody is saying, I want to start a diet, I want to lose weight, there is a specific code for weight. And I experimented with this like a while ago, and it was so much fun. So without changing anything about me, about my code, I went in and started doing a lot of walks and diets and all those things. And I want to literally experiment and see how it works. And after a few days, my weight gone really down. But all of a sudden, I literally attracted things in my life that I couldn't go for a walk. Like something would happen, which wasn't literally in my control. Like sometimes there will be a problem with the kids. Sometimes this thing will happen. Sometimes it will be pouring down. Now, what is the thing? It's the code that doesn't allow you. So if you manifest more money than that code, you are going to just have a car breakdown, or something will happen, or you will need something. You'll get a fine. It's a code. Let's not talk about do we need to act enough or think enough or feel enough. Let's just change the code. Easy. Now let's get to the point of how we change the code. This code operates, and literally this is, I would love for you to live by this information for the rest of your life. Like, there is one thing that you know this information. There is one thing that you understand this information. The third thing is you live by this information. Let's live by this information. Not just understand it. You can teach it to somebody, you can explain it to somebody, but it's not you, it's not your habitual behavior until you live by it. So let's live by this information. And I'm going to give you a really powerful tool to live by this information. So when we talk about the code, this code operates in 3 dimensions because we are tri-dimensional species. We are operating in 3 dimensions, tri-dimensional. The first dimension is the spiritual level. The spiritual level is where you got all this visions from. I see myself with that house. I see myself with that business. I see myself helping a lot of charities. I see myself living that life. That is a spiritual level. That level is infinite. As a spiritual being, we are evenly placed at all places and all times. We are everywhere. We will never die. We are always everywhere. We are infinite. That is the spiritual side of us. Now, the second phase is mental. What can your mind conceive? It's like there is infinite of everything, and there is a filter of your mind. If we look at the filter, the top part of the filter is the conscious mind, the logic, the reason, and the second part is the emotional. And when you're putting things from spiritual into emotional mind, what you're conceiving, like what can you accept to be true about you? If I say to you right now, you're a billionaire, can you accept it? Like in your identity? That is what can you conceive. Okay, so it's from spiritual, there is a filter where what can you achieve, and that now we are limiting, we are going from top to down. So top is the widest, and down we are going narrower and narrower. And how narrow it gets is up to you. What are you willing to conceive about you? That's up to you. How narrow you want to make it. There is no limit. How narrow do you want to make it? So when you're going the mental, now this code is going to control what you accept to be true about you. It's going to control how you think. It's going to control what you accept, what you reject, how you see yourself, what you feel. Like when you're in your meditation, you're so in control. Like, I need to observe my cloth. I need to think for 15 minutes. I need to play this and I need to listen, and nobody can talk to me, and I'm paying attention to my thoughts and I'm visualizing that. And what about after meditation? Life starts after meditation, right? Like the other 23 hours. That is controlled by the code. How you feel every day. How two things can happen. One thing can happen to two people, and same thing can happen to two people, and the way they perceive their situation is based on their code. You can see an opportunity and give it a meaning. It's the greatest opportunity, or it's the worst thing ever, based on your code, right? So what you mentally conceive about you is also dictated by your code. It rejects the thing that you cannot conceive of to be true about you. It literally rejects those things. And then the third thing where the code controls you, the third dimension, is your body. When you're acting on based on what you mentally conceive about you. So you're acting based on how that code is letting you think and feel. If you say, you know what, from tomorrow I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to get everything done. And the next day the alarm goes on and we're like, let's just snooze it. Or I'll wake up in 1 hour. Or I'll do this. Or let me just do this before I just check my phone, and half an hour gone, you were just checking your phone. Why? Because that's the code controlling how you act. Or you can actually act and really work hard, but the frequency of the action is controlled by the code. So the result of the action and the attraction point of the action, that means how you are vibrating when you are doing the action. How are you feeling? Because our feeling is how you're vibrating. When you're doing that action, you're saying, I know it's not going to work, but I'm doing it anyway. I know nothing ever works on me. Either you'll start and stop, or you will do it, but it won't have the attraction point. Your thinking, your feeling, your action is controlled by their thought at all three dimensions: spiritual dimension, mental dimension, and physical dimension. And we understand that, we say, oh, let me change my code, because if I change my code, I will naturally think that way, I will naturally feel that way, and I'll naturally act that way. That's why what I really find interesting is that a lot of very, very successful people, they don't work as hard. Like they are just so naturally able to live that life where they create a lot of money. And it's, you have time for this, you're doing that, and you're taking weekends off, and you're working that less hours. What is going on? What have you figured out? It's because it's natural in them. If your code is, I have to work really hard, and until I sacrifice and do all of that, that's your code. Let's look at how we can change our code at a deeper level now. We have looked at our results. Now let's ask ourselves, what do I really think about money and me and my relationship with money? What do I really think about it? So probing these questions, like looking at, there are lots of questions in the module 2 in the in the Wealth Fountain. If you want to go to those questions, are really, really powerful in module 2. But when you're asking yourself, like, when I see rich people, what do I really think? When I see somebody buying a 15,000 Chanel bag or a watch, a Rolex watch, what is my first thing? Good for them. Look at those people. They have no care for other people. Like, they're just throwing money, right? All these things are the awareness. Are you thinking like, oh my God, I'm working so hard, but it's not happening for me? Let's become aware of the code then. Oh, I'm not clear where I want to go. Let's become aware of the code. What is the code you're operating with? Are you operating with the code that I am not someone who is successful? Are you operating with the code that I'm lost? What if we change that? There are so many codes, and as you start to look at different areas, you can start to become aware and you can start finding them. And as you find them, once you find them, it's so easy to change them. And the finding them is so easy because all you do is you start to ask yourself, what do I really think about this? If I'm having a very difficult experience with my clients, or if the clients are not as consistent, or if I'm having a very difficult experience with this thing, what is my code? Go within and uncover the codes. And those codes are related. Like, if you feel money is hard to earn, then you will have inconsistent business, and then you will have a difficult experience with the clients. They are all connected as well. So it's almost like you find the whole paradigm. What is your money paradigm? If I ask you to brainstorm and say, what is your money paradigm? Let's do it quickly. Let's see how we uncover. So it really helps you when you do this work. When we say earning money is easy, what is the first thought? No, it's not. Sometimes it's really hard. I think earning money is hard. How does it show up in my life? Oh, if you're in a job, I find my job really hard, or I have to do a lot of work, or I'm working so hard, but it's not giving me the benefit, or maybe the clients that I'm attracting, it's very hard to attract. Where is it showing up? So you can literally trace, where is this belief showing up in different areas of your life? Because we are acting in alignment with that belief, and we are attracting in alignment with the code. When you're saying that I'm experiencing this, let's figure out the code. Let's check the similar codes. How do I feel about having a lot of money? Literally, sometimes it's like, if you see yourself with a lot of money, is there any fear? Is there any fear in your codes that my relationship will get impacted, or people won't love me anymore, or I'll have to sacrifice something? That is all in your codes. What we start to do is we start to build the whole paradigm. You can do it with relationship, you can do it with money, you can do it with anything you want. But it's like when you go to the doctor and you tell the doctor, my arm is hurting. They ask you, okay, what happened? And they tell you, and you're like, okay, has this got impacted? It's like a doctor approach. You're going within and you're observing without judgment. And you're seeing, what was my childhood experience? What did I really pick up? What feelings do I have with money? And the whole thing that I'm talking about right now is in the second module after having. The whole thing of uncovering your codes. The key is uncover your codes. You cannot change anything until you know what it is. If I take my phone and they don't even know what the existing code is, how will they change it? So when you uncover that, when you start to uncover all those paradigms, the biggest thing is, instead of watching a video or finding a new training, sit with yourself. Ask your body. See where you're having sensations. And there is a whole chakra healing meditation in the second module where you can do those meditations and it tells you. I would love for you to, instead of asking the answers for the outside, go within. Go within. And this is not something you say, I've done it once, I'm done. We keep doing that. I still do that every day, every other day. I still do this because it's really the moment I change my code, boom, all of a sudden I feel like I'm on a different planet. There are different opportunities opening up. It's like one curtain just moves and you're in a different awareness. It's like you're looking at your reality from a different floor now. It's a completely different reality. You become aware of the codes, whatever you want to change in your life. And then what you start to do is you start to untangle any feeling with that code. This is literally the third module where we talk about processing them. If you want to do it, I can give you a quick summary, the way we process things. you become aware of a feeling or a time in your life or an incident where it really hit you hard. And that code got developed. How the code gets developed, something hit you emotionally, you're like, oh, and then it went right in your subconscious because when you're emotional, your reasoning is not working as much as the emotional. Subconscious picks up the emotional things. And then what happened was you start to act in alignment with that, and it became a habitual behavior. And what we start to see is, where is it coming from? And I realized the time in my life, I still remember that day when one of my adults told me that I'm not that intelligent and I need to work really hard to achieve anything. And I still remember that day, and I knew that it's not mine. Then what we start to see is, does it give you any feeling? If there is a feeling associated with it, that means that you need to process that. And processing doesn't take forever. It takes like 5-10 minutes. You sit with it, you allow yourself to feel it, and it gets released. So allow yourself to feel it until you're like, oh, I don't even feel anything. It's fine. Maybe somebody didn't give you that love. So maybe there was a problem with money. Maybe money caused you a lot of embarrassment. Whatever that is, you process it. And then we start to see the new code. So what we have done so far is we have seen what our results are and how the codes are impacting them. You can literally check you are acting in alignment with your code. When somebody says to you, increase your prices, charge more, and you're like, no, I can't. Nobody's going to pay. No, I can't. There's no way. Why? Because what you're really saying is, according to my code, I can't charge more. That's what you're saying. Oh, do this. Track these kind of people. Or even it literally comes down to having an experience in your business, in your life, with money, everything coming down to your code. You see how it shows up for you, right? What we did was we became aware at a superficial level, at a result level, and at an internal level, how it's controlling us. And then we became aware of the actual code, and we removed any association with it, any feeling. And now we are ready to rationalize the code. So these are the 3 really, really powerful steps that works with everything. And they can change anything permanently. The first step is you rationalize it, because we are logical beings. When you say to yourself, I am rich, but you're not really rationalizing it, that means if I ask you, logically, give me 10 reasons why you're rich right now. Give me 10 reasons. You're like, oh, I have a car. Oh, I actually have a lot of clothes, a lot of nice clothes. I have, I go on holidays. Nice. You see, now you're rationally looking at those things. When I had this code that I have to work really hard because I'm not that intelligent, rationality was we all are born the same way. We all are the expression of one mind. And why am I saying that? Why am I having this consciousness? So that's when you break it with logic, now there is no resistance. This is the most important step, because a lot of times people keep affirming and affirming and affirming. Even I get asked this question so many times. I just uncover my pattern. Tell me what affirmation to use. No, it's not going to work. In fact, when you affirm it, you're going to think the opposite. Let's not affirm. Let's first rationalize it. After you have discharged it with any feeling, let's rationalize it. And then what we do is, after rationalizing, give yourself 1 week. Give yourself 1 whole week to just visualize and emotionally connect with it. The first thing what we did, we took the new code, we rationalize it. I rationalize that I'm powerful, I'm intelligent, I'm smart, I do things with least effort. Let me rationalize that. Because if I keep affirming, it's not going to change. I can affirm for 2 years, it's not going to change anything. Let's rationalize it. Perfect. Then for 1 week, I just see myself being that. Now, this is, if in the whole session, what is the most important thing? That is what I'm saying right now. When people affirm for 200 times, 2 years, 3 years, they're saying, I'm intelligent, I'm smart. What does it mean? What does it mean? You're intelligent. But you have to picture yourself being intelligent. What does it mean for you? I'm beautiful. If I'm saying I'm beautiful and I'm not picturing and I'm not emotionally connecting and I'm not creating that image of me beautiful, then it's just a conscious, it's just a thought. It's like you read a book, you close the book, you don't do anything, it's gone. It's just a knowledge at a conscious mind. It hasn't gone in your subconscious. It hasn't become a part of your identity. When you're saying, I am rich, Doesn't mean anything. You can say it for 200 times, 300 times, 400 times. Say it. Keep saying it. But when you're saying, let me see, imagine what my wealthy version looks like. Now I'm seeing that. Now I'm seeing me more confident. Now I'm seeing me with this car. Now I'm seeing me doing these things. Now I'm finding what I really want to do with my life. Now I'm finding direction. Now in my imagination, because when you're actually creating that in the mind, what happens is there are two things. First, you really know what it is now, what it means. You're giving it a frequency, an emotional charge. You're impregnating that idea in your subconscious. And the other thing what we do is when you do that, sometimes you don't know how to get there. In fact, most of the time, that's why we are consciously manifesting, because we don't know how to get there. What happens is you start to get creative ideas. There is two kinds of imagination. One synthetic, where you already know and you just create what you know. And one is where God or universe plug the information, plug the missing piece. And all of a sudden you're like, I just got this idea. What about this? I just saw myself this way. You are like Napoleon says, it's the workshop of the mind, where you are creating that. You're actually in the workshop. So when you're saying consciously, I am rich, you're not in the workshop. You're not creating. You're just saying it. You're saying, I need to eat. I need to eat. But you haven't eaten anything. Oh, I need to create that. But you haven't created anything until you create it. If you struggle with visualization, journal from that place. Write what your wealthiest version looks like, feels like, is. If you're saying earning money, let's say you have this affirmation, that the new code, earning money is easy. If you keep saying it for 200 years, doesn't matter. If you're saying, what does it mean when earning money is easy? Then you start seeing yourself that way. Now you're talking about the creation. Now you're creating. Because when I say to you earning money is easy, it's at a conscious level. Until you create that picture and you see yourself receiving money and you're emotionalizing it and you're thinking about it and you're creating those images, you're seeing your bank account. Now you're actually in it. The difference is you are outside the workshop saying, I need to create that. I need to create that. Let me affirm 200 times. I need to do that. Or you're going there and creating in the workshop of the mind. I tell all of the time, that for 1 week, after you choose the new code and after you have rationalized it, which might take you 1 hour, half an hour, 10 minutes, 2 seconds, depending on what it is. After that, take 1 week at least to create in the mind. That means you're attracting and also you are rewiring your subconscious. So when you're doing that, you're literally, if you can imagine a circuit which is breaking down and then it's connecting again, then it's breaking, you're literally rewiring those things like new wires, new wires, new wires. 1 week at least without trying to do anything. Our biggest thing is, let me just take action. Let me just do it. Let me just do it. No, you go back to the same pattern. I'm so organized. Let me start being organized from tomorrow. Do it for 1 day and I'll see what happens the next day. Because you haven't rewired. How can you expect it to work? You haven't rewired anything. For 1 week, you just see, and you're saying, I'm so organized. What does it mean? Like when I say I'm so organized, I don't even know what it means. Like, what does it mean to be organized? Does it mean that I'm really fully on top of things? Does it mean that I do a lot of less effort and things happen so fast? Does it mean that my 1 step is equal to 100 steps? What does it mean? Otherwise, it means nothing. It's not creation. So when you're saying that, what does it like really go in the image, in the mind for 1 week? And after 1 week, what happens is, which is so crazy and powerful at the same time, that you will start to have the inclination. You know what? I'm going to do that. Why? I just feel like it. Now, why you feel like it? Because you have reprogrammed your mind and it controls you 98%. That's why you feel like it. It's happening naturally. You're not disciplining yourself. It's not like you're disciplining is like pulling a rock over the mountain. Imagine how hard work it takes, right? Resistance. But when you have rewired for 1 week, connecting with it, feeling it, now you have inclination. This is the most important step, one of the most important steps, that when you are rewiring after 1 week, you have to scan. Am I acting in alignment now? Can I start acting in alignment? Because you will also have natural inclination. And I'm going to give you a really powerful example, so don't worry about that. But am I actually so? As I said, the code controls you at 3 levels: thinking, feeling, action. If you are not acting in alignment, that means you see yourself worthy, but you're still not starting the business. That means the code hasn't changed yet. Because let me tell you how it works. If I say to you right now, there's $10 million waiting for you 5 minutes away. If you really believe, if you're really in alignment, if you're really in harmony with that, you'll go and get it. So if you're not getting it, that means the code is saying you're not wealthy yet. So the identity has to manifest at all 3 levels. But if it's not being manifested, that means you haven't done the recoding yet. Or maybe there is a part in the feeling, or there is something happened which you haven't processed yet. So either you haven't undo the thing that is causing that, or you haven't fully ingrained it yet. So what happens is, after 1 week, you still visualize, you still journal, or you still have self-talk from that place. But again, saying I am rich, I'm wealthy, I'm abundant doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. Like what does my wealthiest version look like? How does that version behave? Now I'm talking. How does that person talk? What is the confidence level? What is their vibe? How do they show up? What is their magnetism? It's like they talk and people are like, who is this person? They show up and their energy is so powerful, like people are dazzled. Is that what it is? So what does it mean? Saying that word doesn't mean anything. Like, when you watch a movie, imagine this. If they, instead of showing you the whole movie, they tell you, once upon a time, there was a girl and a boy, they fell in love and they got married. Did you like the movie? Or they show you everything. They show you. She's waking up. She's doing this. Why do they show you? Because now you're talking. Now you're picturing it. Now you're emotionally connecting. If I tell you a movie, once upon a time, there was a couple, they fell in love, and then the guy died, and it was so sad. Will you cry? And you say, oh, wow. Oh, yeah. But if I show you in the movie, I'm sure you'll cry at the end. Because now you are seeing that. You're connecting with it. So the key is rewiring takes 2 things: emotions, and emotions come when you go in the detail. And you really create that movie. So what the things I do is I create different scenarios. I literally create different scenarios. Like, let me sit with a scenario when I haven't done a party in my dream home. Let me sit with a scenario when I've just got this award. Let me create this scenario when I'm just going on the stage. So I create this, like I play with it. I give my mind prompts. Like, what is it? And when you do that, that's when you're rewiring and you're rewiring and you're writing. And a point comes where that thing becomes so natural for you. You're like, of course, there's no question about that. And then you also take action, take the path of least resistance, take aligned action. Why? Because your subconscious controls you anyway. Sometimes you wouldn't even know what you're doing. So I want to give you an example, right? Which is my painful story. I really wanted to teach this material, right? And I still didn't do the identity work. I just wanted to teach manifestation, obsessed with teaching manifestation, right? Took so many courses. I tried 8 different strategies. Like, let's write a book. So spend a few months writing a book. Let's build a funnel. Let's do a webinar, everything, right? But the problem was my code was, I'm someone who's trying to be a coach. I'm not a coach, I'm trying. So my code was trying and trying and trying. And when I took on the identity exactly the same way, like understanding what parts of me have the resistance, and then emotionally releasing them and changing my codes, right? What starts to happen is I had this inclination. I want to go live and share my heart out. Like, I want to share my story. I want to share this. And it was so powerful inclination that I couldn't even stop myself. Like, I just really want to do that. I want to show up. Am I scared? Yes, but I still want to do it. Now, who is pushing me to do it? Why? When I was trying 8 different strategies and I was so scared to go live and teach, I was so scared to do the things that a coach does. So I was hiding behind the strategy. I was hiding behind the funnels. I was hiding behind this and that. I was hiding behind scripting everything to make sure I don't do any mistake. Because I'm not a coach. But when I became it, I just did it. Because then all the codes start to change. So what I want to share with you now, I think it's also uploaded in Wealth Fountain. I uploaded with quite a few sessions, but I'm going to upload again. So this is your powerful way to code yourself, okay? I would really recommend using that very often and using it as your lifelong growth and evolution journey, okay? What we do is we say, what is my current pattern? What is my current code that I'm going to change? So let's say your code could be that whenever you think about starting your business or something in your business or in your job or whatever that is, you feel overwhelmed and you're all of a sudden you start to freeze and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Then what is that version of you who is a successful entrepreneur, who is a successful employee, who is a director, whatever your thing is, right? What would they do? What is their pattern? You write the pattern here. They will be very calm. Their emotional intelligence will be very regulated. Nervous system will be quite in place. Even when things are a bit janky, they'll be okay. So let me see what is my calm version now. If you find yourself procrastination, right? You need to do something, you don't do it. That means the code says you're not that. You're trying to fight the code. Maybe you're trying to outperform your current income in the code and it's making you procrastinate because how dare you? How dare you do that? That's what the code is. It's supposed to control you. Like you cannot expect the phone to do something else. It's supposed to control it. Like that's the whole point. So then you say, okay, what is my thing? Maybe I'm following a plan or I'm so organized. So you, again, saying I'm so organized, I do the path of least resistance, doesn't mean anything until you know what it means for you. So you think, you feel, and then you act in alignment as you start to have those inclinations. When you act in alignment as a result of that inclination, you just solidify the whole thing. Then you never go back in the old pattern, never, ever, ever. Because you just rewired and boom. Just when you act in alignment for the first time, you solidify the rewiring. It's like you just sealed that whole circuit. Now it's sealed. It's done. Let's say if you find yourself in a very need energy and you want to be very magnetic, then what is the most magnetic version of you looks like? Again, saying I am magnetic doesn't mean anything. But when I say, what is your most magnetic version? Can you create that in your imagination? What is the benefit of creating in the imagination? Because you can create anything. Like you're not limited by anything. You can create anything you want. So you can see yourself dressed in a specific way, talking in a specific way, other people approaching you in a specific way, walking in a specific way, having a very powerful demeanor and aura. You see like other people are looking at you with like, who is this person? When you talk, it's so powerful that you don't even need a script or a strategy. When you show up, it's like, who is that? Your confidence is so powerful and on like fully, you are so authentically and unapologetically so proud of yourself that when you show up, people are like, wow, this person actually helps me activate who I am. So what does that mean for you having those codes? Because when you had the previous code, it gave you a big trauma. That's how it was. When you were told you are not good enough, you are stupid, you are this, how did you feel as a child? So if that code needed trauma, can we have a positive trauma? Like, can we have like the mind-blown frequency? Like, yes, I get to be that. This is who I am. So even sitting with yourself and saying, what is my wealthiest version is? Let me ask myself. And of course, you do the scripting in this program as well, which is in the coming modules. But the question is, this is the most interesting part. After doing it with hundreds of people, you all know who your greatest version is. You all know. And then it makes me think, why do you know? Like, how do you know? How? Because that's who you really are. That's why you know that. When I ask you what's your wealthiest version, you can tell me exactly what that is. How? How do you know? Because you are that. Just forgot for a second, right? So it's about remembering. So using this is really, really powerful because what starts to happen is as you start to change the code, your outer reality shifts. As you go within and change that, all of a sudden your experience in the outside completely change like night and day. It's that powerful. Like anything that you change, your experience changes. If your code is you feel like money is hard to earn, when we start to have a new code and we connect with it and we see what it means, and then we start to attract differently, your experience changes. and you practice, like, I am rich right now. The biggest pattern that I've seen with almost every person I work with, that we are successful right now and we don't see ourselves that way. We wait for something to happen. When I achieve that milestone, I'll be successful. But when you achieve that milestone, you'll go for the next one. And then you will say, when you achieve that, you will be successful. But when I achieve that one, so there will never be a point when we can declare you're successful, because there's always a next goal. So how about we just say, you know what? I allow myself to see myself being super successful. And I am that right now. I'm not waiting for something anymore. And then you compound that. And then you say, what if I could embody more success? What if I embody more success? So what we really want to understand, which is the crux of everything, that there is a golden thread between thinking, feeling, and action, which is controlled by the code. So if the thread is a little bit broken, if the thinking is feeling is not turning into an action, that means there's a problem with the code. That means there's a problem with how you're feeling, or maybe you haven't rewired properly, or maybe there is something there. So it's all on autopilot. There is no conversation about are you doing enough or not, because it's all on autopilot. And you change the code, you will be doing enough. You'll be doing it will become so easy and effortless, because that's what who you are. It becomes a part of who you are. So it's no more about hard or I have to do this. It's natural. So for some people, they say, how do you do that? And you'll be like, just do it. It's natural. That's who I am. So what if we embody success naturally, the way we are? And then it's inevitable, because it just becomes who we are. So I'll upload this. It's also in the other sessions in Wealth Fountain, but I'll put it with this one as well. Okay, please use this for changing your codes, because no matter how much you study manifestation and how these things work, the real work happens here. When this changes, your outer experience changes. When this changes to this, the other. So the manifestation, the process is this. When inside changes, the outside changes. When inside changes, it changes. That's what it is. And everything else is a theory. And this is the work. And when I realized that, I was like, oh, I just had to go within. I was taking too much information, not going within. Okay? Lovely. So what we will also do is we will also have like accountability threads in the Wealth Fountain, where you can tell us like every week, what code are you working on? What is your code? So now I'm going to literally ask you, like, what is your code? What code are you working on? That would be so fun to answer. Okay? And where is it going? Is there something challenging? You can always bring questions to these calls. Like, I'm changing this code, but I have this thing. Okay, let's talk about it. What is it? Because sometimes there's another code which is causing this code. Perfect. So is there any questions before we finish? We have another Wealth Fountain session tomorrow at 11 a.m. UK. Okay, because we couldn't do the last week's one on Saturday. So this is Saturday's one. And we have tomorrow another one at 11 a.m. UK. And whatever time that is for you guys. We'll have to do it, the conversion. But does anybody have any questions? Anything you want to ask? No? Perfect. So I'll upload this session in Wealth Fountain activation sessions. They're all the replays, and I'll name it something on the lines of codes, okay, with that tracker, so you can use it. And please use this tracker all the time. Like, this is the constant. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the work. Everything else is information.